Hey guys, it's Wise Dragon Comics. Back here with another tutorial video for you guys. This one is going to be about how to make blur lines. Like, for instance, if a character is throwing a punch. One of the easiest ways that I find to do it is to make a light outline of what you're drawing. Like, let's say you're drawing a fist or a punch. First, you would actually draw the outline of what you're trying to draw. Just kind of a rough outline, almost as if you're just sketching it. Fingers here, fingers there. Now, if you were going to go straight into the inking process for this, you would actually just sketch it out with your pencil. And then you would actually take your inking pen, whatever you ink with. I'm just going to stick with pencil just so I can show you what it is. But to actually mimic the pen itself, I'm just going to make darker lines on what I'm sketching. But with the pen, you would actually make lines almost like what I'm actually doing is here you see this. You actually see lines going off of like this. They're darker. And you make one line, and you just keep going like that. And you just put ones in between it. That's how you would actually start it out. Now, the key thing is why you lightly sketch it is because you actually follow the lines that you lightly sketched. You start slightly, just like I did down here. Wherever in the direction that you want it to go, you want to leave a tail in the opposite direction. So since we actually want it to show motion towards this way, when we want it to move towards this way, we will make the tail going that way. So you will start a little bit before the line and then go back. A little bit before, go back. Every now and again, alternate the length of the lines, the length of the tail, so that you can give it just a little bit of variety and it blends in better. And then if you want it to look even more blurred, you would put even little smaller lines in between those. See how it looks? So we'll just continue on doing this one. Some of you may be wondering that some of the lines themselves look like they would actually interfere with other lines. Like if you have something that goes like that, and then it looks like it would just actually fade into this back area. One trick that I've learned is once you do that, you can make less lines with less long lines in the front, and then make a bunch of shorter lines. This way, the tails don't. This way, all the tails don't keep running into there. So basically, what you will want to do is while you're doing this, not to make too many long tails, but to make mostly medium tails. But it gets a little confusing when you actually want to show something going faster. So you actually, to make it going even faster, you would actually have to make longer tails. But the trick to that is not to make the tails so thick and close to each other. You can have long tails, but don't make so many of them to where they're close together, because then you'll actually block out what's behind it, what may be coming up. As you can see, you would just add short tails to show the second part of the item, like this fist, for example. As you notice, I'm about to put a bunch of shorter tails in between these longer ones. To intensify the blur effect and make it the blend a little better. Key thing is to make sure your lines are straight. Sometimes, rather than just going with the wrist, rather than just going with your going with just your fingers, you can also do wrist, and then you can also do arm, like basically where you're bending at. It's easier to make long lines by using by actually like make bending from your elbow and going like that when you have to have a longer one. Then for shorter distances, you can use the wrist. Although because the wrist, when it goes like this, it's easier to actually make curve motions because of the wrist and its arc, its natural arc. When you want to make longer lines, you can actually even have short lines, and when you do short lines like this, you can even just use your arm if you wanted to. A little bit harder to control, but you'll still get close to straight lines. But usually, as you saw, I actually just use my wrist for short lines. Although sometimes I'll actually just barely tense my elbow just so it gets a straight line without actually going all over the place. And you can even do this with curved items. Like for instance, I'll curve motions like I spoke of before. Grab a new piece of paper here. Say we got a stick coming at somebody. And like I said, your wrist is also because of its natural arc, makes it a lot easier to actually do curved lines. Usually what I like to do is decide exactly how it's going to turn. So let's say I'll start from the top part, and then because this is actually coming into the foreground area, which is close to us, I'll make this shorter. So that's how I start. I do the top, I do the end of it, and then I do both ends of it, and then I'll go to the middle. Usually, what you're actually aiming to do is to make it into have them all meet at a point. That will be the point of origin where it started. Although you're not going to draw lines all the way back. You could, but it's easier to just not take it all the way back, and you don't have to draw as many lines. And then so basically I have my guide parts. And then so as I stated earlier, it would just simply lines. Starting a little bit before it. You want to actually try to keep each curve to not, you don't want to have it going like this and then you have like that and then like that. That's bad. So you actually want to have a good feel for it like that. And you can even, you don't have to do quick strokes. You can even go a little slower. I prefer to go fast because my hand has gotten used to doing it faster. So let me go ahead and begin. And like I said, when also you can these little small lines in between it, they show more of the edge of the item, more of the edge of the object that's actually moving fast. So the edge, what would I say, the outside line of it, or I'm making a bunch of these little lines where it blurs the most. Alternate. And this can be done with anything. It can be done with characters. It can be done with clothes. Although when you do clothes, it's best to Not really try and do these for all, like the wrinkles of an outfit. Just a basic outline of the character and the edges of their clothes. I also find it easier to come down while I'm doing it. Another trick is I try not to make my blur the first part of the object, the first edge of the object that's going in a direction, not to make long tails on there, but on the second part where it's nothing of the object behind it, I'll make longer tails when I'm making the shorter but long tails, long lines, and I'll make the tails longer. Is what I'm saying. And this is more of a introductory tutorial to this. There's a lot more I could go over, but for now, I'll just give you guys something to practice on. And basically, there you go. And that'll conclude this video. Want you guys to keep focused and stay drawing. And even when you have times where you just can't figure out what to do, sometimes just go draw something else or just stop working on what you're working on and just go sketch a little bit. Or you don't even have to sketch a little bit. Go watch something that inspired you to do what you were doing, and maybe you'll find some more inspiration. And sometimes you it's good to do that because you'll get so tunnel visioned on trying to solve a problem that you'll just keep going and keep going and keep going, when really you just need to stop everything and come back to the root, and then like kind of regrow, and you might see different things that you didn't see before. That's what the one of the things I do to solve my art block when I have it. I just go like watch some anime or read some manga, or go back to the beginning of my story, or just review the early pages and like, oh yeah, I'll remember something. But like I said, keep drawing, guys. Peace out.